Okay. For me, I think niche is something like an identity card. So it defines who you are, what you are. And definitely, it sets you apart with your style as a signature style. And people can connect to your story, your style. So I think having a niche is very important when you are in the baking industry and not to be called as one more baker in the industry.
So far, creating a niche for yourself and starting from that angle, and what were your early challenges, and how were you able to overcome them?
Initially I did face challenges, but then people could connect. I started listening to their stories, how they met. They would tell me, for instance, there were scuba divers, and they would tell me about their stories, how he proposed the bride to be, about their professions or their hobbies. I started incorporating everything into the cake topper, so they were kind of personalized. And that's how I got into the industry, which was setting me apart from everyone. So the challenges were there, but then I could overcome because I had something unique to offer to the industry. Moreover, that time people only did edible cake toppers. They never did, something like keepsake. So this is something that I thought of introducing, because people were not wanting to eat, especially when they saw their own figurines, like the bride and groom. They said, they want to keep it. That's how I got into making, keepsakes with something that's non-edible, non-toxic, and that's what they wanted to, and now, since I said I have been in the industry for last 20, 21 years, they send me photos and they say it's still on the mantelpiece. So that's kind of rewarding for me.
So, in general view, how is the baking industry treating your business? Do you think is friendly enough? How do you collaborate with other bakers?
When I'm baking, I'm also teaching. So I have students or people who want to copy me because they see me or my business as a successful business or a stable business. That itself is rewarding, firstly. Secondly, I would say people can at times, not understand your niche, or for example, when I created fantasy flowers, they could not relate. So I had to gradually introduce that with something that they could relate. So there was a fusion of lilies with spiders and things like that. And I used to call them like the spider lily kind of thing, So gradually I was introducing them, and I had to tell them it's not something that not many people wanted to make them at that time. But then winning an award at Cake International, they got to know that, niche or a unique skill does set you apart from something. So then they started relating and connecting, and that's how they see me today. So let me take you back to my background. I'm a fashion designer and my mom is an artist, so I have always thought of incorporating art, fashion, and different aspects into cakes and baking. That's my niche. So as I said, it's an identity. And then it can't be a cage. Your niche can't be a cage for you. You have to constantly, keep learning different skills, techniques, and incorporate them with your niche. I would create like the recent cake that I created, it was inspired by one of my own saris. So I would paint. Now my painting is my niche, so I would paint a cake using these techniques and still keep my niche there, so instantly people would know that's her. So I think continuous learning is very, very necessary. You have to keep up with the market trends that are going on. For instance, with technology or with AI now, I would try to incorporate, the AI artists into the cakes rather than AI itself, So, rather than creating an AI thing, my son is into AI development and research. So I would always create cakes for him, which gives a signature without using any of the AI there. So I think that constant learning is very important to keep up with the trends.
You share one lesson you have learned recently that changed the way you do your business?
I would say, people try to go for something that's very cheap, or something that is done very quickly. Now something that's handmade takes time, and in this fast running world, sometimes people would want something that's instant, something that's printed, that's just go on the cake kind of thing. But then I have to tell people what exactly is the meaning of art, and that's how I would do a cake topper. Rather than I have to tell them the story behind it, the uniqueness behind it. If something is printed off or just bought from market like a ready-made cake topper, and that they are putting on top of their cakes, is going to look like one of the cakes that you would get everywhere or anywhere. But if it's personalized, it's handmade, someone is putting some time and efforts designing it, it's going to be unique. The importance of that, when I could convince a customer about it, I think it's an easygoing thing from there.
Refuse to learn new skills and still hold on their old skills. What do you think will happen to such brand?
I think, in short run, with great skills, they will survive. But in long run, it's very difficult without a niche to survive, because you are going to be one of the, bakers or the ordinary bakers there. How would people relate to you? When you have a niche, you have stories or you have style. People do remember or they do connect, and then they would say, I want that particular kind of or that style of cake. So I think for a long run, you definitely need to have a niche, and stick to it.
Okay. Um, when we talk about niche, how do one actually actualize or realize that, oh, this is my niche in the baking business?
I think a niche is not invented in a day. You have to really see what are your strong elements, or what do you like doing. Not only with baking or creativity, but even in day-to-day life. For instance, if you like nature or if you like architectural stuff, you could create cakes inspired through that, and that could be your niche. So I would say that way.
So far in the baking industry, right now that everybody seems to complain about cake ingredients, the prices are going up. How have you been able to still sustain your brand in the business?
That's one of the major problems, because with the electricity prices going really high and everything, I have to tell them why my cake toppers would cost so much, and what exactly are the plus and minuses, when you are going with something like this. So I have to tell them that my cake toppers, they, especially when they are keepsakes, they are not just keepsakes, they are heat resistant, light resistant, and they do last really, really lifetime. So the money, from the wedding perspective, when the money is spent on everything else, the cake or anything else, it's gone, you know. Uh, but the cake topper is something that they're going to cherish for lifetime. So when I tell them, or when I can convince, them that this is something that they're paying for is going to last a lifetime, then they're happy to pay the amount, I think.
Do you believe every baker should invest in training, no matter how experienced they are, and why?
Not really, because just training is not going to make you set apart from others. You training will just make you one of the bakers, but then you have to specialize and get to, as I said, you have to have that niche in yourself. So self learning is very important, according to me. Trying to know what your superpowers are when it comes to baking, adding the right ingredients or getting some kind of taste that, distinctly people would recognize you for, is very important. It's not just the decorations on it or that kind of thing. So when they would taste, they would definitely connect with that taste and they would want to go back to you for that. I think it all triggered up during COVID. And the best part of baking is, you can work from home. So you have flexible hours. When I say
Mm.
work from home, doesn't mean really from home, but we could have home bakers or people who have children. They could do like a part-time job of baking cakes and still earn something rather than just minding their children and things like that. So I think a lot of home bakers have been encouraged with this, and that has built some kind of confidence with them that they can do both or juggle both the things, which is very important at this stage. And that's something I think a lot of bakers have been in the industry, who want to do something and still stick to their families or their children and stuff like that.
You are a wife and you're a mother, and how do you differentiate business and your personal life?
So there are times, when, as Marcus said, when there is this wedding season and you are very busy doing things, and that's the most toughest time because children will have their summer holidays. I don't want to miss out on, taking them to parks and things like that, but I don't want to miss out on my work as well. So I have to do justice to both of them, and that's the toughest thing. But as I said, as a baker, I have flexible hours of doing things. So I would spend some of my time or my afternoons taking my children out or doing different activities with them. And then I could work later on in the evening or, later hours where I could finish my things. So that way I can handle both of them and do justice to both my profession and my family. Online or social media is like two-way sword. You have your plus and minuses there. So when you put something or your niche, definitely there would be a lot of copy, instant copy cakes and stuff like that. But then just I would say just stay true to what you are or your personality, and things are going to come your way, no matter if people are copying you, but they can't be you. It's only you who can uh, bring that imagination. I think like as I say, knowledge can take you from A to Z, but imagination can take you everywhere. So even if the social media is there or the trends, and uh, you don't need to get carried away by that trends. You could create a trend. That's what I feel.
She asked, tell us about your ash moment when you felt that you really love your work. This question is for both. But please answer the question.
Okay, I would agree with him too. So when I'm into teaching, a lot of students, when they achieve something, I think it's double the joy. When I'm doing things, definitely yes, I love my work and that's my passion. And that's why I am in this industry, because of my passion. So it's like every day is a new day, and every day I feel something when I do something. I like to think out of the box and try different things, and then it's like, oh yes, kind of movement. So yes, definitely yes. And when people write to me or they would share their photos of the cake toppers and the wedding moments, or for the birthdays and things like that. When it's a surprise for them and it's given from their family member, they share their reels or their stories, and it's really heart touching that you know something that I have put so much of efforts and love has been cherished so well, and it has a special place in their heart, in their house. So it's really good. That makes me feel really blessed.
If you have a superpower, what would you have changed in the baking industry?
Okay, I would change the amount of time, because when we get engrossed into doing a cake, we just don't look at what time it is. And from day to night, it's gone. So if I could change how the time is going, definitely I would do that.
What can you say about Boss Marcus getting to share the platform with him? Your take on Baker's TV show, this platform.
Absolutely. About Marcus, when I heard that he's just into the baking industry for a year and a half, I have to say, compared to that, your work is phenomenal. So you
Thank
are
you.
definitely blessed and talented for
Thank you so
sure.
much.
So I can see that you have a really bright future, and it's kind of your passion. So all the best for you for that. With
Thank you.
Baker's TV, definitely, I would say the way you connect people and especially your questions, I just love them because they were not kind of the regular questions that I would be asked. For past 20 years, I would have a few set of questions like how I began and what are my struggles and things like that. But your questions were very unique. Your topics, like the niche and things like that, just loved them and loved answering them. So thank you for having me.